So 2K has said that the Archetype system will be returning next year, and recently we saw that NBA Live has announced their Archetype system somewhat. They have Archetype systems and little archetypes within those archetypes, which is dope. And NBA 2K's Archetype system, for some people this year, they didn't like it at all. They wanted to be able to make the dominant player they want to do. And some people thought it made the game balanced and that it made it so everybody has to contribute equally, you know? There's no demigods and all of this stuff that we had to deal with in the previous years. But I kind of have an idea of, it will be interesting to see. Something that would be interesting to see if 2K would implement this, which I know they won't. The only company who would ever try anything like this is possibly like maybe EA Big, who made NBA Street and NFL Street back in the day. Because this doesn't really fall in line with a simulation basketball game. But it really could. It actually really could. But we're going to get into how it works. So first and foremost, there will be 4 archetypes, just 4. And the way that it will work, it will be the first one being a point god. Like point god, not guard. God, G-O-D. Or I should say G-A-W-D. Since that's how people in the 2K community seem to spell the word. So the only position that would be able to take this role would be point guards. Point guards will specialize in playmaking, ankle breaker stuff, like all of that. Finishing inside, dunking on people like Russell Westbrook, and having a moderate jump shot. As I'm recording this, I just realized that I forgot to mention that they should give you the option to be either more of an outside point guard or inside point guard. Whereas you can switch and be a knockdown shooter and a moderate inside finisher instead of being a super slasher with a moderate jump shot. You could do either one. I forgot to mention that, but back to the video. Some examples of this in real life would be Russell Westbrook, Allen Iverson, Derrick Rose when he was good, and those type of guys. Those type of explosive athletes who can score the ball and make plays and do everything fairly well. The second archetype would be lock guys. Lock guys would be players like Kawhi Leonard, Scottie Pippen, and LeBron James. Maybe not LeBron James. LeBron James, you wouldn't categorize him as that. But Kawhi Leonard and Scottie Pippen most certainly will be lock guys. Players who specialize in their main thing is locking up anybody, any and everybody 1 through 5. But they can also score the ball on the offensive side. And we all know Kawhi Leonard is the greatest defender in the game today. Maybe behind Draymond. I'm biased. That's another player who will fall under the lock guard category, Draymond Green. And Kawhi Leonard can score the ball. Kawhi averaged like what? Damn near 25 this year, something like that. And any player 1 through 4 would be able to get the lock guard archetype, because it doesn't make sense for a center to be able to guard players like out on the wing. Unless it's like Anthony Davis, but he's like a special case. He's like the only nigga in the league who can do that these days. And the third archetype will be post guys. Those are players like Karl Anthony Towns, DeMarcus Cousins, and who else? Well, we'll just go with them for now. Karl Anthony Towns, DeMarcus Cousins. Guys who specialize in scoring in the post. Their footwork is impeccable. They're backing you down. They got unlimited moves. They finish fadeaways, post hops, hooks, all of that good stuff. Just in the paint, that's their zone. When they're in there, they can score on you in a bevy of ways. And then on the other side of the ball, they also are great paint protectors. Think about it. Most of the bigs that you see play in the paint who are really good, they're really good on both sides of the ball. Dirk is probably an exception, but Dirk is underrated defensively. Dirk is not as bad a defender as people may think he is. But players like Karl Anthony Towns, DeMarcus Cousins, and big like Karl Malone. Karl Malone. Hell yeah, Karl Malone. He was a good defender too. The post guard archetype will be available to centers and power forwards only, because that just makes sense. And the last and most controversial archetype that we'll talk about is the demigod. We all know demigods. We all know about it. 2K15 and all of that good stuff. We had our fun and bad times playing against demigods. You know the type of players demigods are. The Kevin Durant's, the Giannis's, the Anthony Davis. Just those extremely tall players who have guard-like skills. They can shoot the ball. They can dribble the ball. They can score from anywhere on the court. On the other side of the ball, they're long and lanky, so they block shots. They play great defense. And that's really what everybody wants to be. That's what everybody wants their player to be. You want to make a 7'1" freaking 2 guard who's shooting from Curry range with Kyrie Irving handles, dropping niggas on the... Fuck! That scared the shit out of me. Who is that? Okay, so that was my Bluetooth speaker. I was listening to some Bryson Tiller before I started this video, you know. Sometimes, man, just gotta get in this feeling of the thing, right, you know. I just forgot to turn it off. I don't even remember what I was saying about the demigods. But the people who will be able to be demigods will be shooting guards through power forward, because point guard demigods, that shit dead. And the most demigods you see in the NBA are in between those. Pretty much the only ones, except Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is the only ever point guard demigod ever in the NBA. And of course, all of these archetypes will have set attribute caps that you couldn't go past after a certain height or all of that. Just how 2K does it now, they have certain badges that you can and can't max out. And although this would never happen, I feel like if 2K wanted to implement this into the game and make this the new archetype system, I really feel like it could work. Think about it. If everybody has the ability to play defense, if everybody's defense isn't capped off at a freaking 72 through 75, and everybody's defense can go into the 80s and whatnot, if you're good at the game and you're a good defender, then it won't matter what the archetype is. If you can get a good contest, if you can make sure your man doesn't get by you, if you know how to play a pick and roll, then it won't matter what archetype you're playing against. Good defense is good defense. And that's where 2K would have to make sure they have the defense, the contest, the bump animations, have all of that stuff balanced. That would be critical, essential in making sure that this archetype system actually works. The people who you see complaining about players being too good and stuff, usually, I'm not even gonna lie, it's the people who are trash at the game, the people who suck. No matter what game you play, whether it's 2K, FIFA, CSGO, no matter Call of Duty, no matter what game you're playing, there will always be people who are unreasonably good at the game, who spend way too much time playing the game. They know the ins and outs of every aspect of the game. And that's not common. That is not common. If you are good at the game, you will be able, if you are really good at the game, you'll be able to beat most people, except for that top tier of unreasonably good dudes, who is very uncommon to run into those guys. It's rare to run into those dudes. The only thing you have to do is make sure you're good on defense, and you won't have to worry about how overpowering somebody is, because you can lock them up. But that's just my 2 cents. That's just an idea that, you know, wishful thinking, right? Of course, that would never happen. Maybe if they brought back NBA Street or something, if EA Big came back and did all of that stuff. But with 2K, that's not happening. So, if you enjoyed the video, if you thought this idea was cool, if you would like to play this game, if you'd like to play this version of NBA 2K with all of these cool archetypes, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Share the video with all your friends on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, wherever you share your videos. And as always, I'm D Brown Shanghai, and until next time, I'm up out of here.